I am currently a 31-year-old business owner, and I've been dividend investing for around 6 or 7 years now, full time, to a point to where I've basically been spending every single dollar from my active income sources and buying dividend paying stocks or ETFs. Now in this video, I'm going to share my journey of how I got to this place so far, and towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you two of my largest dividend growth portfolios that are currently valued upwards of $700,000 just between these two portfolios. But just to take a quick step back, like I said, I've been investing now for around 6 or 7 years. I didn't grow up with much money or opportunities personally, and I really had no straightforward road to become rich or wealthy whatsoever. So early on, I took things into my own hands. Now, what I mean by this is from an early age, I did my best at trying to start small businesses as a kid, such as doing the normal things like selling candy bars in school to friends, going door to door and trying to sell items, and even renting out a space at a local flea market when I was around 12 or 13 years old, selling wholesale goods that I was importing from China. Now, I always knew that somehow, some way, I was destined to figure out a way to make entrepreneurship work at some point as long as I kept trying. But by the time I was around 18 years old and nothing taken off up until this point, still being completely flat broke, and now having to choose to leave high school and maybe enter college, of course with the help of student loans, I figured I would enter a local college and maybe go ahead and take more of the traditional routes instead of the entrepreneurial route like I had dreamed of. Now, during the first few years of college, I found myself constantly on marketing blogs whilst I was working a part-time job to try my best to stay afloat. I also noticed myself quickly paying no attention in classes and studying things like internet marketing online pretty much from the minute I woke up until the minute I went to sleep at night. Now fast forward a little while and I started to build out a small quote-unquote marketing agency, if you would even be kind enough to call it that. And this quote-unquote marketing agency was basically a group of different social media pages that I had built in different niches and started even selling advertising space. Now by the time my sophomore year of college came around, I was earning sometimes around $10,000 a month from a college dorm room, and at this time I sort of realized that it was either now or never to either leave college and go for the entrepreneurial thing one more time, or to stay in college and stick with the traditional routes. So long story short, over the next 5 to 6 years from when I dropped out of college, I devoted absolutely everything into my business and was able to generate 8 figures in sales all on my own throughout the years. So now fast forward even a little bit further, after some amazing business success, which I was of course very thankful for, I found myself facing my next challenge, if you will at least. I know it had more money to set aside than I honestly ever had dreamed of, coming from a sort of low income situation, and I knew that at this point I had to figure out a way to use this money to hopefully make more money in the future. Now it was not long until I came across dividend investing and fell in love with it basically right from the start. Investing into household names or even ETFs, becoming a tiny owner of these companies or funds, and earning a small dividend on a quarterly or even monthly basis sounded so cool to me right from the start. So fast forward even more, and that brings us right where we are today. I'm currently 31 years old and around 7 years into this dividend investing journey that I've been taking it very, very serious and studying everything I can when it comes to dividend investing pretty much from the start. And at this point, I have over 7 figures invested, with an annual dividend amount climbing towards $100,000 in dividends paid per year. I'm not currently at $100,000 yet across all my portfolios combined, but I'm hopefully going to be there in the next 1 to 3 years. So now that we heard a little bit about my journey and how I was able to amass quite a sizable dividend growth portfolio at a relative young age, now I know there's some people that are younger than me that have way bigger portfolios, and of course there's some older investors that have less. But now that we went over my story, I want to share some of my largest positions in a few of my portfolios, just in case of course anyone is interested. This right here is my master dividend tracker, which has more or less every single dividend paying stock and ETF across all my portfolios. Now, if you were to add up all the values of all these different shares of these ETFs and stocks, it's well over 7 figures. And all in all, this portfolio as of right now on an estimated basis currently pays me around $76,000 per year or $6,300 per month in dividend income. Now, of course, as you heard through my story, this did not happen overnight, and this is accumulation of buying a few shares every single day, every single week, every single month throughout my multiple portfolios over time and reinvesting all the dividends along the way. And I'm happy to say that as of this point, at least for the most part, I've reinvested nearly every single dollar that I was paid from dividend income from these different stocks and ETFs, and reinvested that money to buy more stocks and ETFs, which has really created a compounding effect and really helped me grow this portfolio much, much quicker. Now, just to quickly go through this portfolio in case you guys are sort of curious on what I hold in this portfolio, I hold a mixture of different dividend paying stocks and ETFs. And there's certain names in here that are much more income focused, names like Devo or even names like QYLD, which I obviously buy for the most part to get my dividend income up, because at some point in the future, I do hope to use my dividend income to cover my bills, or maybe to use the money to travel, etc., etc. But there also are other positions in this portfolio that are more growth focused, things like Apple, which I currently have 1,000 shares of at an average cost of around $118. I was looking to buy a lot of Apple early on in my investing career, and I'll probably hold on to these Apple shares for quite some time. Now, over time, I've learned that buying into ETFs, which is a mixture of different stocks, because I love diversification, has really been the move for me, but I do still own some single stock names, some larger positions than others, but I have things like Enterprise Product Partners, which I have 746 shares of, and another one of my favorite single positions in this portfolio is my almost 2,850 shares of Realty Income Corporation. And again, throughout all my portfolios, my longer term goal as a 31-year-old dividend growth investor is to get to the point to where I'm able to pay all my bills with all my dividends, which I am at currently, but I want to be able to have a ton of spending money on top of that, which is of course just an icing on the cake. And over the past 7 or so years, the way I've been able to build my portfolio as fast as I've been able to do so is by basically being as frugal as possible in some areas of life, of course, and by investing as aggressively as possible into high quality dividend growth stocks and or ETFs. Now, I've also been pretty vocal that a lot of my portfolios at this point are pretty much where I want them to be, and for that reason I'm buying mostly SCHD or dividend growth ETFs like that from here on out, just out of simplicity and just out of balancing out the portfolio. Now, even though, as you've heard, a lot of this portfolio success was from the fact that I started a business and I had a relatively large amount of money to start off with, but that doesn't mean that any everyday investor with just $100 to start off with can't buy into a dividend paying ETF or stock and then continue to buy more shares over the years, reinvest the dividends along the way, and also create the compounding effect. But now that you learned a little bit more about my backstory, how I really got into investing, the business trials and tribulations, and for the most part, now that you see all the different stocks and ETFs that I currently hold throughout my portfolios, I lastly want to ask you guys to comment down below, which is your number one favorite buy and hold position, whether it's a stock or whether it's an ETF. Drop the ticker symbol in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.